Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm VeVe Magic, and what better way to start than to bring in the man who helped start my journey into VeVe and NFT collecting. How's it going, Silicon?
Hey, it's going great. Well, thanks for having me and congratulations on launching your own YouTube channel. Excited to be your first guest.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you. I look up to you a lot. A lot of us in the community do. You
Thank
have
you.
a wealth of knowledge. Your collecting strategies are top notch, and we all love hearing from you. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's been a while since I think I did my last video. Well, technically we were on with Randy Chavez. That
Yeah.
was interesting. Why don't we talk about that real quick?
Yeah, that was fun, right? Like that was catapulted into something really major. And
Yeah.
who would have thought? Yeah, I just, how did we even end up going on that? It was just the
You
last
just
minute.
messaged me and said, "Hey, Randy's been messaging me all day trying to get me on this channel." do you,
Oh
do
yeah,
you,
I was supposed to go, but I was like, I got to get my kids from school.
and
So
then and then do you want to come on with me? I'm like, sure. So you get on and yeah, Randy's talking about, I don't even remember, but he was on this 12-hour stream or 11-hour stream or
super
something crazy
impressive.
like that. So we hopped on for a little bit. But at the end it was if anybody even watched it, I'm sure it's a long, he's gonna watch 14 hours or 15 hours, but at the end, he's like, hey, I'd love to have David Yu on. I gave him his email address, and then David Yu came on. So I mean, props to David Yu for man, this is what the community needed, like just a little bit of extra support from the executive team and coming on Randy's channel. And he asked some really good questions actually. David, you gave us some good insight, and I thought there was a lot of good information that popped out of that. So I'm glad that happened.
Yeah, I mean, where else can you be in a community where you email the CEO, which was legendary on your part, having that contact info,
Yeah.
and you get a response that he just pops on your screen in 45 minutes? I mean, that's pretty cool. Like I cannot say enough about how much VeVe, as much as they're growing, how they still stay humble and connected to the community and are always
Yeah.
listening. And there's a lot to be said for that. And that proves that they're in this for the long haul. I mean,
Yeah.
to take the time out for people in the community says a lot to me.
Yeah, and one thing that there was a lot of stuff that was dropped in that video, but one of the things that kind of stuck out to me was how much David cares about the community. He specifically called out the people that were locked out, like our friend Grubba V,
Right.
and others that had their accounts locked up. They were they got caught in the middle of a $10 million gem scandal, and we all know, like, well, with computer forensic investigations and things like that, I mean, I think they're lucky to even be able to use their account at this point. So it's good that the accounts, you can at least buy something on the market. I'm sure it'll take time before they can actually move anything out. But I think that yeah,
We're already seeing what that's doing to our market, right? That you
yeah,
can tell that certain people have recently got unlocked because they're snapping things up left, right, and center, which
I
is
just
amazing to see. The recovery. We were talking earlier. Tell
yeah.
me about the recovery your portfolio did in like overnight.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I look at the collectibles value, floor value, right? And Dr. Profit comes in, gets his account unlocked, just shares a screenshot of his 400,000 gems, and he's like, "Hey, if you're wondering where all the sub 10K waltz and sub 4K Tods are, uh, you know, I have them." So yeah, he's out there actively pushing up the market, and yeah, I saw from the bottom, I guess, and maybe it's the bottom, maybe it's not, it doesn't matter, but like, you know
There's always going to be rescue though at the
it
bottom.
it shows you how thin the floors are, right? Dr. Profit can come in and rattle things up. And we saw, I think you were mentioning Elsa went from 500 to 1,000. I mean, Elsa at 500, first of all, is insane for that piece. I mean, that is just
Yeah.
an amazing NFT. But yeah, I think the sentiment, we had a problem in the crypto market in general, right? One of the stable coins actually crashed because someone went after, pretty much attacked it. And someone walked away with, it took $1 billion and they made 850 million bucks. So I mean, some people, whoever it was, formed this attack, and that had this overall kind of like dampening on the crypto market. We saw OMI drop to 4 zeros temporarily. It was like 0.009 something that night
Oh.
that we were talking to Randy, and yeah, it's it's a weird market, right? I mean, this is we're coming out of this kind of like, depression in the crypto space, and then depression in the general NFT space. And of course, VeVe, I mean, we've seen values down 80+%, in the app. And some people that bought at the highs, I'm sure they're like frustrated. And, yeah, I talked to a friend who bought her, her Todd at 9K and bought, some other things at a higher level. And I just said, she, I've been telling her DCA, and, I said, hey, I felt bad because I recommended, hey, go buy Todd, go do this, go do that. And she said, hey, no, this is how it is. We got a DCA. So she was telling me, like, teaching me the DCA thing, which is right. Like, if you bought Bitcoin, back in the day, Bitcoin went from, thousands down to 700, right? You DCA, you see it that low, you DCA. So something you love, if you love Elsa and you bought it at 2,500, well, why wouldn't you buy it at 500? And I think that's that's the challenge. And the other challenge is liquidity, right? People need to have liquidity in the market. But seeing Dr. Profit, he's a market maker, right? You have 400,000 gems, the floors are super thin, you can push the market up and down, especially at, the way the platform is. So yeah, there were 60 something Todds left on the market. And I thought, hey, that's what we need. We need confidence in the market. We need people to go in and buy stuff. And the floors have been called, at least for this dip down. Could they go lower? Sure. Will they probably go higher? Most likely, because there's not a lot of inventory. So there's not, there's just not a lot of available for people to buy.
Yeah, I mean, that's where my confidence lies too, is I said, people have been telling me that, Walt could go down to 3K, 5K, whatever it is. And I said, that's fine, because I'm personally one of those buyers. I have the gems ready for it if it gets in my firing range. And I know I'm not the only person. I've, been tagged in some tweets where, just during this last like couple of weeks, there was somebody that bought 2 extra. So there's plenty of people waiting for the opportunity. So instead of, seeing everything dropping and flooding, like, oh, Walt wasn't the piece we thought it was going to be. No, it's just going from paper hands to diamond hands. And I think that's a really good sign and is going to show the long-term strength of this piece and how important it is. So, I mean, I don't take it as bad news personally.
Nothing goes straight up. And
Right.
like in collecting in general, like if you just forget about NFTs for a second, with my experience in collecting, things go up and down in value for whether it makes sense or not, or whether, maybe the economy, that's the other thing, the economy is being impacted right now with the war in the Ukraine. We have just this weird space that we're in, right? We're on the brink of possible, war with Russia, not necessarily the US, but maybe NATO, and Finland and Sweden are getting in the getting into NATO, and Russia's threatening them. So like there's this, we're in these times that are, not so we can't, they're unpredictable right now. So
Right.
anything can happen. And even some people said, well, maybe that was Russia, doing an attack. I don't know. I think if Russia wanted money, they do a lot more than $850 million worth of damage. So I think it was just, I think it was just whales that were, coordinated and came in and saw an opportunity. There was also apparently on that stable coin a $20 million bet on the price in a year. So, and there was someone holding the money. So, obviously there was a lot, there was a lot there. If you had $1 million in Luna coin, which was or the Luna token, you'd be worth I think it was $170 or something right now.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, some people got really hit, right?
Devastating, for
And if
sure.
you think you're putting your money in like something that's stable, which is not supposed to move up and down, and so you're like, okay, that's where I keep my savings account, and you get hit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like that's one of the number one lessons too in this market. Like I'm certainly no pro or whiz at it, but my strategy has been and will continue to be invest what you're comfortable losing. I mean, if you have the guts to go all out and put your whole life savings, I mean, good for you. Like I hope it works out, but if it doesn't, you got to be prepared and willing to accept that loss. And so that's how I've been treating all of my investments personally. And I do, not even in crypto, just in the stock market in general. I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. And, when the stock market crashes, blame somebody, and you got to do what you're comfortable with. But so yeah, I've had a really hard time with how everything's been, because I have just been chomping at the bit to buy. And at the same time, I have been wanting to save gems and build gems for Walt. And that's been incredibly difficult.
You saw
So
him dip to what, 6.4 or 6.9 or something like
yeah,
that. I mean,
and it's like, I almost just bought the gems, even though I can't right now. I almost did, because I was just like, this is such
I'm surprised you didn't, because
it took a
like,
lot for me not to.
that's like around where you bought your first wall, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
6K. So I'm like, I'm here again. I didn't think I'd ever be here again. I almost missed it the first time. I'm going to miss it the second time. So
6K to 50K gems.
yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep my hopes up that it could still happen. And if it doesn't,
Oh, no. There's no doubt it's going to happen, because you have Dr. Profit scooping up 10K.
No. I mean, about me being able to get an extra one.
Yeah.
No, I know it's going to go up. I don't worry about that.
Yeah. I mean, you got the watch on, right? Let me see that watch. It's beautiful.
It's gonna flip it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my treasured pieces now. I love it.
It looks good on you.
Thanks. It's kind of big, but I like it. I like big watches.
No, that's the look, right? It's the big watch.
Yeah. So what I was going to ask you is, I've been trying to keep those gems, and it's super hard for me not to spend them with everything I've seen in the market. And again, I'm not a good flipper. I could have bought an Elsa at 500 and flipped her for 1,000 or close to it if I timed it right. But that's just,
You're not going to sell Elsa. That's a problem.
I know. I'll get attached and I won't sell her. That's true. But so my strategy, I've been going up for most of the drops, if not all. But otherwise, I have just been sitting tight and hanging on to my investment. There's like been a set here and there that I've wanted to complete, so I have done that. But I'm curious, like, what have you been doing lately with your NFT investments?
Yeah, no, good question. With VeVe, I've invested a lot in VeVe, 6 figures. And I timed some things right with Todd and with some purchases. That I was able to leverage and parlay into a bunch of golden moments and things like that. I'm at the mindset right now, as much as I want to put more gems into VeVe, I wanted to kind of diversify a little bit more. So I've been buying things off of drops. I bought when an opportunity comes and I have the gems, I'll buy it. I bought the 888 secret rare. I have Agamotto. Someone offered me,
nice.
which was cool. People know my weakness around 888. But in general, I've been pretty quiet on the market. I haven't done much. I just kind of like, I look at it and I'm like, not right now. I'm cool, like, with my position. Now there's opportunity for sure. Like, could I shove more in? But I think at the point of where I'm invested, I just kind of have made my bets. And at this point, I can just get myself in more trouble by buying and selling stuff than by meaning, like, I like my position. So I did invest outside of VeVe. I got into the back cows, so I was able to get a decent amount of those, and I'm happy with that position.
Really sure how many that is?
Not really. Let's just say I maxed out. I'll just leave it at that. A couple of times. So yeah, I think on the HRO train, like, you got some cards, I got some cards. I'm keeping my cards sealed. A lot of people are opening them up, and they're like, hey, this is part of the experience. And the way I see that's happening with HRO, people are opening up these packs, and there's the physical and the digital, and they're breaking up the sets, the physical digital. I have a fascination for physical digital connection, which is what was interesting, like, with this whole back cow thing. And how in the Detective 1059, which I have a copy of right here, there is back cows in the comic book, right? So on this, I don't know if you can see it here, but anyway, there's a back cow back there, and there's a QR code on that page that took you to the nft.dcuniverse.com page. So that's a tie, right? That's a physical to digital connection tie. This comic is now, kind of elevated in some way because it's the first appearance of Bat Cow, and kind of where the story is going. They have a 2-year roadmap and all that. So I like the utility idea. I know we were chatting about, like, kind of talking points. Utility is one of the ones that's right now
Hot topic.
we're all asking for, but we don't really know necessarily what we're asking for or what's possible.
Mhm.
And on the interview with Randy, David, you had kind of mentioned, don't expect like a lot more utility from some of these. He didn't call out explicitly who, but there's some limitations, right? But what's interesting to me is, utility can mean a lot of things, right? Like if you look at the VeVe community, if you have a partners, and you're part of the partners club, which is now renamed, if you're part of the partners club, then you can go get a discount cryogenic therapy session, right?
Mhm.
And so that's utility, right? One of the major utilities I think that people look for in VeVe is making money, right? That's probably the number one utility, meaning
Or
like,
just being part of that club is utility in itself. If somebody went out and
right,
created an exclusive Discord group where members can talk, they can schedule meetups, they can do whatever they want within that group. But you can
yeah,
only be part of that group if you're a member and prove your ownership of owning a wall. So, I mean, that in
right,
itself is utility without any
totally.
money.
Yeah, there's utility, right? Exactly.
Mhm.
It may not be sponsored by Disney, right? But it's utility sponsored by the fans. So so the major form of utility everyone looks for is one, making money, right? I want to be able to buy something and sell it for more. Okay. That's probably the major utility that people have been seeing with VeVe. Now that the market's down, they're like, well, that utility is not there right now. So, people are still flipping and making money, but what I'm saying is in general, for the overall market, that utility is kind of longer term. And then, like you said, the clubs. Do we think that there could be a connection to Disney corporate? Absolutely, because at the end of the day, it's up to the fans, right? It's up to us. If we go to Disney and we say we want a VV day, we want to discount at, I don't know, one of the collector stores, or we want to get, something. I think at the end of the day, it can happen. And that's the cool part about Disney is they're always listening to their fans. They're always, right there on the pulse of the market. We saw
Absolutely.
in that interview with Randy that David, you said the executives mentioned user generated content every week. What is user generated content? It's you're making videos, you're talking about the collectible, you're you're making vault videos. You're
They work, for the parks, they work side by side with social media influencers. There's people that make a living off going to the parks. There's one account I follow that he goes every day and just videos new merchandise. I mean, there's so many influencers, and Disney gladly supports them. And that's, I've been personally more so in like Twitter Spaces, not as much on YouTube yet, but I've been really trying to make that push for we have a voice, and we can be seen and heard, and utility can get there with our help too. I mean, obviously, yes, you want a company to bring you utility, but if you believe in this as much as you do, I mean, I personally have such a passion for it. I'm happy to. This is me. This YouTube channel is me trying to help us get more utility because I believe in it and I'm such a fan of Disney. I would love, I love having a pass, and that comes with utility of discounts and all that kind of stuff. And I believe the NFTs can do the same thing. And I just, it's just like VeVe has their priorities. Disney certainly does too. That doesn't mean it's off the table. It's just not a priority right now, which I think is completely understandable.
It's not promised, right? Like it's
Right.
one of those things, and that's what's cool about VV is it's organic, right? Like
Yeah.
this is even better because it's not like superficial. Yes, there was utility. You got a free, Disney Plus, subscription for 3 months or a year, depending. If you got Walt, you got it for a year. That's pretty amazing. I have Verizon, so I don't have like my Disney Plus is included with my very expensive Verizon bill. But like I think that some people took advantage of that, right? And I also didn't get Walt on the drop, so I had to buy him second. All my 8 were bought secondary. But I think that the utility part of it is exciting because this is organically happening. This is the fans.
Mhm.
Is Disney going to say no? You're not a fan? No. Like we know that they embrace the community, and it's super exciting to see what's possible as especially as a bunch of users that are fans of these NFTs, that are fans of these collectibles. It's kind of exciting to see this, right? This resurgence into seeing people go through COVID and how hard it's been, to have this outlet, to have this creative outlet, to be able to connect to people. That's the big one. the social aspects of this, on Twitter Spaces, on Twitter, and Discord groups, on YouTube, like you starting your channel, right? So having all these connections in the community, and now it's like now you want to go to to Decon London, right? Now you want to go to Decon in Orange County. Now you want to we want to connect to our community because we're part of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that you can't buy. If I'm a new company,
utility for me.
yeah, it's utility for you, it's value for you, but it's also value for the NFT, for the licensors. It's value for VeVe, because you can't just say, okay, I'm going to create a community, because I'll tell you, it's not easy, right? People are passionate about this, and that shows.
Yeah, and there was I don't know if I heard it in Don't AMA or the actual AMA, but Alex was talking about some of the events that they have coming up, and I forget which one it was, but that they are planning on having like more utility added in, where you'll be able to like purchase a physical collectible if you go to this event, and you will get like the NFT with it. And so, I mean, yes, it's not promised, but it is.
They have it now. Jurassic Park. Did you get tickets?
Exactly. Yeah, I got tickets.
and again, we heard David, you saying, okay, we had to be quiet, So some other things from that video. I mean, again, I want to recap some of these. They're pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said that, so he showed the dinosaur in the gates early, right? We saw that early on. And then we're like, where's Jurassic Park? And you get people that are upset. Where's, my dinosaur? Where's my drivable T-Rex? Well, and which is, a running joke, if you guys know. But, it took a while, right? Because they want to time it with the movie. They're not just gonna be like, oh, here's Jurassic Park out of nowhere. So they're timing with the movie, and they're including stuff with the movie drop, right? And they're probably going to have drops after that. And so I think that, that's the other part is, these companies market this appropriately. They're using it, for marketing purposes. We're collecting it as collectors. And so it's not our timeline. It's their IP. It's their timeline. But there's already utility now. You go to the event, you get the NFT, right? And you have to show up for that. You can't just buy the ticket. You have to get it scanned, right? So you have to get it scanned, or you have to hire someone to scan it, to go watch a movie for you, I guess, or give away a ticket. But I'm gonna go as long as I can make it and all that. So depending on my schedule, but yeah, right now things are looking good to go watch 5 hours of
Jurassic Park. And so the other topic I'd like to discuss is I've talked a lot about park utility, and that's on the forefront of my mind because I go so often, and so it's right in front of me. But I got thinking a lot about it, and the fact that the parks aren't easily accessible for many of our VeVe users. I mean, there's people all over the world, and there are parks all over the world, but there are some countries, plenty of countries that don't have parks, right? And so there's some people that have never been to a Disney park or may never go in their entire life. So they're like, yeah, you guys are talking about utility, and that'd be great, but like, I'm never going to be able to experience that. So why do I care about that? Like, what other kind of utility is a possibility? And so I've had a topic that I've been holding inside for a couple of weeks because I've been waiting for the right time to discuss it. But it's really led me into the metaverse and the potential. There's so much potential utility in the metaverse. It's like, I've got a handful of notes here, and that's stuff that I jotted down within 5 minutes. If I sit here and think about it for an hour, I can't even imagine how long this list will be, and exciting things that could come. But one of the things I thought was really cool, I wanted to tell the story of during COVID. So when I go to Disney parks, there will often be people that are on a ride, and they'll video the entire ride. They'll video It's a Small World, start to finish, 15 minutes. And I sit there looking at these people like, what is wrong with you? Like, when are you ever going to watch that again? Like, that is the weirdest thing. I don't understand that. Like, put your phone away, enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
So I had to eat my words because COVID hit, and we were locked in our homes, and I had to keep my children entertained. And what do you think I did? I went on YouTube
and watched their videos.
We couldn't go to Disneyland. We lived vicariously through these ride videos. So I'm so sorry to all those people that I made fun of, thinking that they were dumb, because they saved me during COVID. Now, Then it started with just watching ride videos, and then we'd watch ones at different parks with, in, Paris and Tokyo that we'd never been to. And like, oh my gosh, one day we can ride these. And then we got really creative. I don't know if you ever had this experience when you were a kid, but I remember like my parents would put me in a hamper basket and they would like pretend I was on a ride, right? So we started doing that, and we would like get this mountain of pillows and put a hamper on there and put the kids in there and act like they were on the ride, and we do bumps and dips. Dude, I went as far as pretending they were on watching Splash Mountain. I had a water bottle. Sprayed them all.
Wow.
And it like made their life. Like they loved it.
What was the Yeti? Who was the Yeti?
Oh, I was the Yeti too. Oh, they love that. I would do that in the slide outside. I'd bang on the slide because I have like a tube, and yeah, I was the monster. But so then it got me thinking of all this new tech that's coming out. We've got goggles, and we know Disney's going to build their own metaverse. And how are ways where we're going to be able to experience these rides? Like obviously, even just the goggles, it's a crazy experience. Like you feel like you're literally on the ride. Who's to say they aren't developing tech where you can purchase at a Best Buy, or who knows, maybe Disney comes out with their own tech stores, and you can purchase some sort of like chair or seat, and it is a simulator in your own home, and anybody across the world can experience a Disney theme park from their own home. And like that's the kind of stuff that like has gotten my brain going. And then you pull in our NFTs, and I mean, what's some stuff that you would love to see with your waltz or your golden moment set? Like what would you love to see in the metaverse?
Yeah, wow. There's a lot packed in there, but
free to dissect.
Yeah, let me start unpacking. No, I mean, first of all, I like the whole creativity of, yeah, you're right, because I've been on those rides and there's someone recording and I'm like, why? Like, enjoy the moment, right? But same time, it's like, there was actually, a reason for that, right? And I've caught myself.
They probably made thousands of dollars off that YouTube video.
Yeah, I've caught myself doing the same thing. So that's cool. And I love how creative, we're getting. And that's the thing, is like, it's up to our imagination of what's possible, right? So, when I think you were over my house for last Thanksgiving, and we were messing around with my Meta VR goggles, right?
Yeah.
And we put them on, your son, and people are trying to keep their balance. I think it was a roller coaster or something we were playing around with, and it was just fun to kind of watch the kids play around, right? And this is where we're headed, where you're getting fully immersed. Because what if Disney was shut down for a long time, a year or so, right? What if it's 2 years? What if COVID extends and they have to shut down again, right? Because we're getting rising cases again, the Omicron variants popping out, or maybe there's something else, right? And how is Disney going to stay relevant, right? So one of the reasons why user generated content is important is it keeps it relevant. It keeps it, kind of at the tip of like what people are paying attention to.
Absolutely.
And the same thing would apply to Metaverse. Why wouldn't Disney, if I'm going to make a video game or I'm going to make toys, and I can't manufacture, ship these toys right in time, I got to wait, the waiting list, like I think we've ordered stuff, it's going to be a year out to get anything, it's got to be built on a ship, COVID, factories are shut down. Even in the automotive space, Toyota shut down half of their factories, right, in Japan. So and that's already with a car shortage out there, right? So you look at like just the supply constraints of making something, right? And what does VeVe bring to the table, or what do NFTs bring to the table? You can make it, but you can leverage, content creators. You don't have to physically make anything, and then you can tie that back to physical locations, right? So what if I got a free NFT if I went to Disney on this day, right? What if, and they said, look, we're booked out for this month, but on this day, this is traditionally a slow day for us, right? So we're going to offer free NFT. Let's see if that makes a difference. Would it make a difference? Hell yeah. We would all be there. We would all figure out how to get there.
Everybody would be there.
Right. So you got to think about like what, how these guys are going to leverage this. VeVe's mentioned the QR code, right? Or the codes. Promo code. So what if I want to drive people to Disney stores all around the country, and I want to give them a free NFT if they show up, right? Or they get a free code with the purchase. Just start thinking about.
Disney does that stuff already with
exactly.
First 100 people on a certain day, there's those collectible keys, Disney keys. I mean, they already do that. So I mean, they're eventually probably going to move to these NFTs. I mean, you're spot on, spot on.
I mean, it makes sense, right, for marketing purposes, because it's like, this is the bigger picture that I think that VeVe brings to the table that no one else really is bringing to the table. And that is, VeVe's like, we can bring people to you, right? We can make people go somewhere. Like,
Absolutely.
we have enough pool where we can, do stuff. And so I think that utility is huge because people want to get engaged. People want to do stuff. You saw Pokemon Go. People were out there running around the streets for nothing, really. I mean, like, they weren't getting anything, I don't think. They were having fun, right? They were getting the utility of having fun. But
The next
I think,
generation of that,
yeah. And so what do people want? They want to be immersed. Like, you talk to people and they're all Disney all the time. They want to be all Disney all the time in everything that they do, right? When they have their free time. That's their choice. Like, they grew up watching Disney movies, grew up, kind of like in this, I grew up watching Disney movies, and maybe there's something that, special to them that connects them to that. And that memory
hmm
stays alive whenever they engage, so like that comes with, kind of like you gave me a list, right? Clubs, parade performances, things that happen, other things that are going on that people connect to.
Yeah.
So what extra utility could we get? So I think free NFTs is one of the easiest ones. So if I could get an exclusive, there's only 10,000 available, and la 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 la, how much would that go for on the market? Because it wasn't ever sold on the market. And so I think that there's a lot of opportunities to physical locations and NFTs. I think that, if I could scan, there's this, going back to the back cows real quick, there's this game called Gotham Knights. It'll be coming in October, and there's some speculation. I don't think there's a connection there right now just yet, but they have a, free thing if you, or they, if you get their collector deluxe edition or something like that, you get something free that's digital, right? So, how hard would it be for me to scan my QR code on my, VV thing and get something in a game, right? Get additional utility. You see Facebook making huge, or I'm sorry, Meta making huge investments in the space, both with the physical devices and also with the content, right? Who's got the content? We do, right? VV's got the amazing content. So this is the utility we want, right? We want to be able to traverse metaverses or traverse places. And so the first early iterations of metaverses, we're thinking, oh, fully immersive, you're all in, but that's not how it's going to start off. The first early iterations are these kind of utilities where you have a social aspect, you get something for free, or you get, you're in spaces and you have social community, right? You have, those are the first iterations of early utility. So do I think that the Imagineers are gonna do something? Yeah, I mean, they're Imagineers. Like, their whole title of their job is to make the experience pushing the cutting edge. I mean, Disney's always pushed the cutting edge
Yep.
all the time. And in fact, it was so expensive to push the cutting edge, like during the World's Fair, that they were able to get those sponsored, right? Those rides sponsored in New York for the World's Fair. Like, It's a Small World, I think it's sponsored by Pepsi, and then bring that ride back to Disneyland and build it, right? So that's how expensive a lot of this stuff was. But Disney figured it out. They got it sponsored. I think the other one was the Abraham Lincoln one was another one that was, in the World's Fair. So where he's talking the animatronic,
hmm
you look at that and you're like, that's still cool, right? And what are we, like, 2022?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's still freaking cool. So I think that they're going to push this. We're just seeing the beginnings of it. Stuff takes time in development. So I think they're already off to the races.
Yeah.
But just like before we got our first Disney NFT, I don't know if you remember, they said they've been working with Disney for 18 months, right? So same thing with Marvel, right? Like, this takes time.
hmm
The other thing that, David, you said in that interview, which I think is really interesting, and VeVe officially tweeted about it. Someone asked how much AAA content do you guys have, or top tier content do you have to release? How many weeks worth? And they said 200 plus content, 200 plus weeks. It's either way, it's a lot.
Either way, it's like,
Yeah. So we know that they've told us that. They told us they've had 5 years worth of content. We need to be a little more patient with the process, because they have to get sign off. David, you mentioned, if they release something, they have to sign off from multiple people and get things, it's licensing, right? It's how it
Yeah.
works. But I think we'll
And
also see,
strategy.
yeah, and
There's a
but I think
whole,
we'll also see things created specifically for this environment, meaning like fast tracked, right? Could they create a brand new character that's born in the metaverse? That's possible.
Mhm.
Could they create whole new storylines that you can only see and watch in the metaverse?
Right.
Well, gee, how, like, yeah, maybe, so it's Disney, they got bags, so they
I
could
know
do it.
I just retweeted something about their revenue. I can't remember the numbers, but it was like just the Q2 was the revenue stream was like crazy, billions and billions of dollars.
Disney Plus is being played every day at my house.
Oh, same. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
incredible. So yeah, I love everything you're saying, especially about like the patience and how, it takes a long time to build this stuff. And it's like, don't expect when the metaverse comes, it's like fully built out, everything you
I
could ever
think we
want.
were expecting that, though. That's the thing, is I think we were like,
We're
hey,
impatient. People are
great,
impatient.
let's put on our headsets, let's go. All right.
But
Oh shit, I'm in the metaverse. Like, yeah, it could still happen, right? But like, but I think that, when you look at like what it takes to build something,
Mhm.
and the investment it takes, right? And even if you say go, it takes, you got to build it, right? And just because it's digital doesn't mean that they don't want it, like they got to build all the components. Like if you look at how long it takes to build a video game, it
Right.
takes years.
Right.
It
This
takes
is like
them
way more than
years.
that.
Yeah, it takes some years. And so, I think that, yeah, we have to have patience. We have to stretch our timelines a bit. Don't put in money you can't lose, like, so, you want to, and don't sell an emotion.
Right.
That's the other thing I'm seeing is people are getting, they get negative, they get emotional, like, like, I get it. Like, look, the market's down, but like, would you feel the same way if the market was up? And so that doesn't change what you own, right? Like,
Mhm.
and
Right.
so I think that that's the one thing that, people don't get is like this crypto market is very fast. We call this, okay, maybe it's crypto winter or whatever. People are like, oh, it's going to last years like last time. No, it's not, because last time there was no one doing crypto. Were you doing crypto?
Right.
Was I doing crypto? No, there was like literally the amount of people now and the commercials and the, it's out there. So you're not going to see the same, the same, like, oh, it's going to take years, because, that's not how crypto works anymore,
Yeah.
right? It's alive and it's moving, and NFTs are crypto. You're owning a token ID, right? You're owning a token to property, to a license, to a Walt, or to a, Donald and Daisy, or, whatever. And so, I think that people just need to take a deep breath, put their phone down, and
Yeah.
someone needs
Walk
to
away for a
advice.
minute
Go
sometimes.
for a walk, get off us. That's the other thing is, we are on our devices way more, with NFTs than we have been before.
Yeah.
My usage was up, for a long time there, being on the VeVe app all the time, and all that stuff, looking at markets and prices, looking for mints, and, talking to people about things. And so that's the other thing, like, find the balance in your life, right? There's a good balance. Your NFTs are still going to be there. They're not going anywhere.
Well,
Use them to go outside and take pictures with, like, go put them on Twitter, right? Like, go actually do some of that stuff.
do some stuff in your vault. And I feel like you got to protect yourself too, especially if you do love your investment. Um, there are certain places and people that can bring your morale down, and the FUD can start to get to you. And, I was in a space after the AMA, and I just was sitting there listening, and, I do like to hear the different perspectives to see where people are at. But then I'm like, there comes a point where I'm like, why am I listening to this? This isn't helpful for me.
Mhm.
I don't agree with it, and I don't feel like getting in a discussion about it. So I'm just going to protect myself, and I'm going to go hang out in a DGen space where we just like shoot the breeze and have a good time, and listen to music and talk about movies. Like that's going to feed my soul a lot better. And yeah, I don't want to part with these things. So why am I going to sit here and listen to somebody that is saying negative stuff about it? So
Yeah,
protect
it's
yourself.
that same thing from when you're a kid. You are what you eat. You are who you hang around with, right? Like, for me, I'm in this project for the long haul,
Yeah.
and, I've put a lot in. Um, there's been last summer we had kind of this depression in VV.
Right.
I checked out. I said,
You
okay, I'll be
did.
back. yeah, I checked out. I'll be back in a couple of months, right? I'll check in. People are still negative. No, I don't want to. I don't want to hang around that. How does that help my long-term position? It might help me like panic and freak out. And how's that anxiety going to help me at all? Like, what? How's it going to serve me in my life, right? And so I've made my call. The call takes a while. At the end of the day, that's part of making an investment or placing a calculated bet. And it may go to zero. Hey, it may go to zero. I'll be there at the bottom. So, like, the thing is, we are early, and this is what early feels like. Early has pain up and down, right? You watch some of Cavell's videos, and he was early to Netflix, and he sold some stuff, right? And he talks about his regrets around that, and he said he saw that same opportunity with VeVe. I saw it as well when I saw VeVe and I saw the NFT space. What instantly came to my mind was technology and the .com time, and people made a lot of money and this long lifespan, this long time span, and then obviously it came down and crashed. But what I thought about was like, what investments, if you would have made then, like, would still be worth a lot, right? Like if you would have bought Apple and what about Google and what about these early, you would have got in on some of these early companies, you'd be set, right? And so it's all about kind of, I guess, perspective. And people are like, don't be afraid to take a profit and all this other stuff. I totally get that, right? Like,
Right.
no, do I have regrets about not selling the top? Absolutely not. Why? Because that's not my game. See, my game is longer term. My game is, I'm waiting for these to truly appreciate and value, not necessarily what the market sentiment is. So whether the market's on board or not, or wherever the market's at, like people are like, oh, you could have sold, all your Todds and bought them back cheap. Like that's not how I'm investing here. I'm buying the right things and I'm holding, and I'll sell when I feel like they've appreciated. Now, did I sell a couple of Todds? Yeah, I sold more than a couple of Todds to fund my other purchases. But like that's I'm keeping it in the app, right?
Right.
And I'm diversifying. So I think that like, people really need to understand that what you're putting in here, don't expect instant gratification, right? Like,
Right.
the people have got it, right? Some people have got it. You landed that 1977 secret rare, Star Wars comic. I mean, David, you was trying to get it from you.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
an
know why
interesting one.
by the way, I don't know why you sold it at 5K, but whatever. I would have messaged JVU and said, hey, let's work something out. But like, long story short, you have to have, in crypto, I think people are used to like these pump dump, like these quick gains. And even when the NFT space, a lot of these projects get pumped up, and then people get rugged and all these things. And there's this whole like, people learn their lessons, right? And with VeVe, the same, there's some manipulation that's been happening, but long term, if you buy the right IP, because not everything's gonna be valuable, right? You buy the right IP, you're placing a pretty good bet. You go buy a Walt and Mickey, the first appearance of Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse in the blockchain. I can't believe I'm saying that. Like, you think,
Crazy, right?
like, let it set in.
I know.
We're so close to the app and to everything that's going on
I think that's
that
part of the problem.
we don't have, and so people are like, who cares? It's first of the blockchain. What does it matter? Well, it matters because you realize how important the blockchain technology is, right? And how it's made part of our everyday lives. So when you zoom out and you realize that the first things were art and NFTs and these 3D models and things, that's history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other thing that I want to point out too is I was thinking about when I was listening to that conversation is there are so many, I'm impressed daily by how many incredible bright minds there are in this space. Like it's, some of the people that I get to talk to in spaces, I'm just like, I would not have an opportunity to talk to some of these people, like successful entrepreneurs, investors. I mean, you name it. People that are crazy good with numbers. They can just rattle off numbers and market cap and all that, just like on the fly, like nobody's business. And you hear all these people and, you can go to their Twitter pages and see their profiles and see that they've, got it going on and know what they're doing. And how can you not all of them are wrong. You know what I mean? It's like to see all these people in this space, and yeah, maybe there aren't a ton of users, as many as we thought there are right now, but to see the quality and how smart the people are that we have in this space, they're not all buying some like hope or dream. Like they're researched and like they know what they're doing. And there's no way we're all wrong. Like that's
Yeah.
another reason I just have constant faith, is there's no way that we have all made some drastic mistake. Like these people are too smart to have invested so much time, money, and commitment into this project, you know?
You look at people like Dr. Profit that have had success before, and how
Yeah.
much money that guy's putting into this app and how much money he spent. At one point he had 350 wallets, but I think we're way past that now, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, I hear your family calling. Do you want to
yeah.
wrap things up and enjoy the rest of your weekend here?
Yeah. We're gonna just take the kids to the winery and just chill
Ooh,
out and
very
enjoy it
nice.
before it gets. It's gonna be 88 degrees over here today, so try to enjoy it before it gets too hot.
We'll have a cheers for me. All right.
We'll do. We'll save some for when you come. But no,
um,
I think in general this is a good conversation. I'm looking forward to sharing this video, and congratulations on your YouTube channel.
Thank you. Thank you
And
for your
thank you for
support.
having me as your first guest.
Absolutely.
I think everyone's going to want to chat with you. You're already a Twitter star and a VeVe star. So I'm happy to see your smiling face today, and keep
You
up the good work.
Yeah, I'm passion driven, and I'm actually, terribly introverted, but things that I'm passionate about, I can just go on for hours and talk about. And I just want to share that love. And, there's very few female voices that are fairly public. And I'd like to hopefully bring a little bit of confidence to other women on the platform, and hopefully get them to, get more involved or even feel comfortable investing in the space, because, crypto and NFTs are pretty male dominated, and it's a little daunting. I'm still, tiptoeing around crypto, and just
Yeah.
wanting to learn and share and grow with the community. So I just
And
hope.
you're forging ahead. Look at you. I mean, you're right out there. So, we love you. You're an important part of the community. Can't imagine you not being there. So, thank you for everything you do, and yeah, for pushing the envelope of, showing people, hey, this is what it's about.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give hugs to the family, and I
Yeah.
will actually see you in a couple of weeks. And thank you
Sounds
so
good.
much again for joining me.
All right. Sounds good.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.